this up. Yeah. I do like how Zoom's gotten better. They ask you now, like, hey, you sure you want to go live? It's like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, I hit the button. Very good that they ask, because last thing you want to do is be talking something, and then the whole world is just like, yeah, no, we heard all that. It's just like, oh, that was not for you. Not for you at all.
Oops.
All right, so we're waiting for everyone to kind of pile in here. We're going to talk a little bit about Marvel before we get into our what if breakdown. I told you guys last week, Prime, you weren't here, but Trayvon, I told you just last week that this episode was going to be a very emotional one. It was one because we got screeners for it, so it was one me and Tia had saw a while ago. It was almost hard to watch. But I know a lot of people came out of this, very happy that we got one last shot of T'Challa as T'Challa. Of Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa.
I heard today that he's in 4 episodes.
Yeah, supposedly he's recorded voiceover for like 4 total episodes.
Right. I think what they meant more so was this is the first of the last.
Mm-hmm.
We'll hear him as T'Challa. But I mean, this, I know it's going to sound super insensitive, but it goes to what I've been saying since it happened. This shows you the importance of why T'Challa needs to continue. It's a character that we have not yet seen fleshed out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got the game that just came out today. We got the what if that just came out today. There's just more to T'Challa. Right. And I understand Black Panther 2 being more so of, your bridge to whatever is next for the Black Panther. But I stand firm. And this episode, in my mind, really reaffirms that of we need more T'Challa. And, to a lot of people being upset about it, that does mean recasting. But to me, this episode showed you how great T'Challa is. That's how amazing this character is. And, a lot of people don't understand where I'm coming from. And what me and Joel say all the time is 2 things we always say. One, a character, an actor is not more important than the character. The character has existed before the actor. The character should exist well beyond the actor. Right. And the second thing we always say is T'Challa died twice on screen. Like, think about it. He died twice on screen.
Yeah.
He really only had a full appearance in his own movie. And then we were expecting to see him have it in his second movie, in his third movie, and in other Avengers projects. So to me, to leave this legacy where it's at is incomplete. And since he can't finish the story, you got to pass the baton. But welcome in, Tia. What's up, Tia?
Mm-hmm.
What up, everyone? Sorry, I'm a few minutes late here. I was trying to upload a video and it was taking so long. It was like using up all my internet. But I came in right as you were talking about Chadwick Boseman and the character T'Challa and recasting, right? And I don't know if this is like a correct comparison, but I loved how Heath Ledger portrayed the Joker, and I could have done with more Heath Ledger as the Joker, but unfortunately Heath Ledger passed away, and it was hard for people to go, oh man, you're gonna have to recast that person. But we've seen other Jokers now. While some haven't worked, some have absolutely worked. And I don't think now is at the point where any of us sit there and go, well, no one else can be the Joker. So, maybe it's one of those things where you just need time to go on before finally people are sitting there going, it's important we have the character of T'Challa and Black Panther on screen. And so if someone else can pick up that mantle, that would be great.
See, for me, when I think about this, it's harder because in that the Heath Ledger example, his movies are so disconnected, and once that character happened, it was like okay for us not to see a Joker for a while, which we didn't, and then we got another one eventually. But that's kind of just normal for Warner Brothers DC. They all they never stick to anything. So that, for me, it's just like, okay, we have another one now. We have two, it's just fine. But this, it's so weird. It's he's so was synonymous or whatever with the character. It's gonna be hard to see somebody else put that thing on, and it's just not gonna. I don't see it working. I hear you, Juwan. I get you, but it's just not going. For me, it's different. Like that's like somebody stepping in as Iron Man out of nowhere, or somebody stepping in as replacing Chris Evans out of nowhere. It just doesn't. It doesn't work the same way to me. I just don't think you can do that. Passing Black Panther to somebody else, yes. Passing T'Challa to somebody else, I can't see that.
I agree with Tia. It's exactly the same thing, and for the main reason of what you're talking about, continuity wise, didn't exist when The Dark Knight came out. There was no universe they were building. It was singular. It was just that. There was no other, they're building 80 different Superman. It was never connected. The Dark Knight wasn't connected with anything. And there were many people that thought Heath Ledger was the bookend for the Joker. Oh, you just can't get any better than that. Look at what the man did. And then Phoenix comes and people are like, oh, well, yeah, the Joker can be done is equally good, if not better. So it's the idea of he is not why the Black Panther exists. If he was if Black Panther was created for Chadwick Boseman, then I would go, well, that they're tied together. That's literally his legacy. You can't do anything with that. You know what I'm saying? It's like making it's like in Prime. I know you probably remember this. Remember the dude who played Flex on One-on-One when he was Michael Jackson? It's like, all right, well, yeah, maybe we shouldn't do that. Like maybe Michael Jackson is literally the only person that could be Michael Jackson. To me, it's a character that has existed before. It's why you just enjoyed playing the Black Panther game. Chadwick didn't voice that. And that character was T'Challa.
It's a game, though.
It's a movie. Black Panther is not
okay. All right. What if in X3? Okay, like the X-Men movies. Let's talk about those. So Hugh Jackman, right? What if all of a sudden he got replaced in the third movie? It was somebody else as Wolverine. How would you like that?
Well, I think the difference is, unfortunately, it's not one of those things where Chadwick Boseman is getting replaced because he stepped down from the character or there was some sort of fallout between him and Disney. Unfortunately, the man passed away.
Right.
And I can't speak for the man because I didn't know him.
Right.
But I would like to think that he would like that character to continue for all the young children out there, who looked up to him so much.
I'll let y'all have it. I mean, if it happens, it happens.
No, I mean, listen, I think that in the next Black Panther, it should be handed to someone, temporarily. But I would be interested in seeing who would be able to take the mantle of T'Challa, in the future. If it's someone good, They're
gonna have to nail it, though. I think.
Yeah, they will.
Those are big shoes to fill. I would be so intimidated if I were that actor.
They can't be good. The person has to nail it. So I don't really have a feel on it any way or the other. I definitely understand what Trayvon is saying. I understand what you guys are saying. I guess with me, I'm not rooting for them to, honestly, what I'm saying, just recast them or whatever.
But if it happens,
if it happens, I'm not totally against it either. I just think that they just better get it right. They have to get it right. Because to me, I do think you can do a disservice to Chadwick if you don't nail it. I think you have to nail it.
See, I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that mindset because
I mean, if we hadn't seen him before the Black Panther, granted, I understand it was Civil War movie, okay, but if we had not seen him, if Black Panther was the very first time that we saw him, like that was it, like the first time we even saw the character, I still may feel the same way, but maybe it's not as bad. But we got to see him the whole movie before the Black Panther, right? Might not make a big deal to a lot of people. It kind of leans heavy on me. But like I said, I'm not totally against it, but I'm not rooting for it either. I'm not.
I just the idea of they just have to nail it. Like I get that in context, but what I don't like about it is that I feel like if that's the mindset, you're going in saying the bar is you have to be better than what Chadwick was. And that's something no, but that's something no one's going to be able to obtain. Like what Phoenix did with Joker is nothing like what Heath Ledger did with Joker. It's different. It's not better. It's just different. They're both great at what they brought to the Joker. So to me, whoever comes in as T'Challa, just be great. I don't need you to be as great or better. Just bring something new to T'Challa that we can look at and go, man, what Chadwick did was legendary. What blah, blah, blah did was also legendary. But if the mindset is you better nail this, I think we're going into it going with an expectation of where the bar is. There shouldn't be a bar. Just go in clear-minded of, let's see what you can do. But if you have that bar, it's like, Prime, you know this, it's like coming into the NBA and telling a kid, hey, you better be better than LeBron. What? Like, what? Huh? That's not easy. When you talk, there's people in the league now that aren't better than LeBron. You want me to do that? So to me, it's just the idea of come into the league, be great. Whatever you do is great enough. You don't have to come in and be this transcendent great actor for the role of T'Challa. Just come in and just be great. That's it. Be great. And whatever that means for you is what that means for you. But I think we already have it in our minds of what we view the bar.
Well,
that's unfair for anyone.
But you got to understand too, though, which was a great point. But you got to understand that the movies from here on out, if they recast them, let's be honest with you, it's going to hinge on not the storyline as much to most people when they go see this, not who else is in it. It's going to be how he is portrayed. It is. That's people's mindset going into this. That's what it's going to be. And it's going to be some people, we can't make everybody happy, but it's going to be some people that are not going to be willing to look past that when they're actually judging how good the movie actually was.
And it also, I mean, for people, it is going to be one of those things where there's going to be a period of getting used to it, because not only, just as you, Prime, said, not only all of those things, but if you get a different actor, it's not a cartoon or something, it's real people. So the chemistry that person has with the other cast members who've already done these roles, who've already been in these roles and are already used to doing this with Chadwick, that is going to be different. So, I mean, it's a touchy situation altogether, I feel like. And I guess we're just going to have to wait to see where Kevin Feige goes with this, if he decides, to go somewhere with it.
I mean, he said no, but I'm told that I do this too much, but I fight unwinnable fights. That's what I'm here to do.
Well, I mean, we knew this, but I was thinking about you today where they were confirming, Anthony Mackie as the lead of Captain America 4, and I saw your tweet under GVN's like, "Oh, yeah. Are you sure he can't be in it? You sure?"
Yeah, like, you sure? Did he get paid for Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Are we sure?
That's an unwinnable fight that you're having here.
Come on, Chris Evans, you don't want to come back? No, I mean, look, I understand where you're coming from, Trayvon. I really do. It's probably how I would have felt after BVS if you told me Ben wasn't coming back as Batman. Like, hold on. No one can do what he just did. This Bruce Wayne was amazing. The physique was amazing. Everything was amazing.
I like
but
that background.
In time, I had to open up the idea of Batman is the legacy. Ben isn't the legacy, right? So Batman has to continue. So once I opened my mind to that, seeing that the Batman trailer, I said, God damn, Robert Pattinson's about to be great as Batman. But you have to open yourself to that and realize that these characters are the legacy. That doesn't tarnish what the actors did. There's still people today that think Michael Keaton was the greatest guy to ever dress up as Batman. And nothing will ever change that. No matter how good Ben was, how good Robert was, Christian Bale, to them, the status is Keaton, right? They still haven't moved on from 1989, right? I'm just saying that.
I will say I have a friend who's like never seen any of the other Batmans after Michael Keaton. She's like, why bother? He was the best. And I'm like, you're missing out on a lot.
But that's why I always say, and a lot of people don't understand this because they're living it, so they don't really see it from the outside. You're a fan of the actor at that point. You're not a fan of the character. A fan of the character means literally anybody could play it, and you want to see it because your interest is purely the character, not who's playing them. It's why I was able to let go of Ben, because I'm like, well, I do love Ben, but I really love Batman. So like, it's either retire Batman with Ben or I get more Batman. Well, that's easy. I'll just get more Batman. So to me, like I said, at the end of the day, we have to remember the characters are the legacy. And it's up again, if we stop telling stories of characters, that's how the legacy dies. We don't want the legacy to die, right?
Now, we don't want it to die, but you just got to remember, though, it's kind of hard with Black Panther, is that we know that there were many Black Panthers. You see what I'm saying? So it's when we're comparing this Black Panther to a lot of the other characters that we want to compare him to. I mean, I get it that there's been other heroes in both DC and Marvel that have had, temporarily had someone else wear their costume or take up the mantle, only for it at some point or another to revert back in most cases. But in the case of the Black Panther, there's a history. There's tons of Black Panthers. We just got to know, the most popular one as far as the comic books came along, and T'Challa.
But that's my thing. I want to see more. We had only scratched the surface.
But having him as T'Challa, having the Black Panther be T'Challa, or just having a Black Panther period?
No, I want to see more from T'Challa. I don't think that if you honestly ask Kevin and honestly ask Ryan Coogler,
mm-hmm.
I am sure they have so much more story to tell for T'Challa. That's what I'm saying. Like, I get it. Anyone can be the Black Panther.
Right.
I want to see more from T'Challa. That is a character I want to dig deeper into. That's a character I know. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's like there's multiple Green Lanterns. But Prime, if I told you that the new Green Lantern movie coming out is starring Alan Scott over Hal Jordan and John Stewart, you would go, what? Like, oh, but no, there's other Green Lanterns, right? No, but I want the ones that I know. I want Hal Jordan. I want John Stewart. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's like, I get it. The idea is once you peel back the onion, the onion's gone. But I want to go through the idea of peeling back each layer of it. You know what I'm saying? So I want more of T'Challa. And whether it's now or later, it will happen. There will be another Iron Man 50 years from now. So to me, the idea is if it's going to happen at some point, rip that Band-Aid off. Tell my siblings that all the time. I don't do the whole putting water on the Band-Aid and slow. I rip it off. Once it's off, you get through the pain and then you move on, So to me, it's just the idea of, I get it. It's a legacy. He built something special. But like Tia said, I don't know him either, but I find it very hard to believe that in any space, he said, no. T'Challa, no, that's it.
Well, I agree with you. The last thing I say about it is if we get to that point sooner than later, I think one thing that would help, I think they got to find a relatively unknown actor. I think, to springboard, I don't see too many people. I know everybody coming up with all these ideas who can replace them and people that we know. I like them to go out and
David Washington,
relatively unknown guy, the relative unknown guy. And
Prime says a relatively unknown person, and Juwan just throws out arguably one of the most well-known people right now.
I kind of agree. I feel like that's the only person that could do it, and I feel like we need somebody that's seasoned that can handle the pressure. That's what I feel like. not somebody.
Yeah,
new.
but it
but
would
to
be
me-
interesting.
You don't know that the unknown guy couldn't handle it either, though. We don't know that.
That's
But they'll get
very
attacked.
true. But
They'll
to
get
me,
attacked though.
to me,
Like-
with John, the reason why I immediately went to John, like maybe 3 months after I processed like Chadwick passing, was everything lines up. The stature, the presence, the size, everything lines up to where we could get a similar T'Challa. You know what I'm saying? Again, he can bring something new to it, but very similar in build, stature, presence, and again,
Acting ability.
exactly right. And just the swagger, like that's, and again, Prime, an unknown actor could 100% bring that. I had no idea who, what's his name was before he was Daredevil, Charlie Cox, and now it's kind of just like, well, that's Daredevil. You know, that's what you have to aim for if you want to be Daredevil. But to me, I look at it and I go, it's a swagger. It's kind of like with Blade. Like if it wasn't going to be Wesley, it needed to be somebody that had swagger. And there's nobody out there with more swagger than Mahershala Ali. You know what I'm saying? It's why everyone was just like, no, it's either Wesley or there's no Blade. And then Kevin was like Mahershala, and they were just like,
Okay.
oh,
All right.
yeah. So that's why I'm saying if you give it to somebody a little bit more well known, I think that eases ripping the Band-Aid off more than somebody that they're 100%.
That's not good.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you go unknown, it's more pressure of, well, now everything has to hit.
Right.
Well,
But
listen,
if you get
people
somebody,
are good.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Tia.
I was just gonna say people are gonna judge until they see the final product, and if they judge after that, I guess that's their prerogative. But I mean, if you had told me 5 or 6 years ago that the guy from Twilight was going to play Batman, I'd be like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, agreed.
And then I saw pictures in the trailer. I was like, holy shit, the sparkly guy from Twilight is gonna nail this.
Okay. Not too much on Twilight now. Not too much.
I'm sorry, Trayvon. I am not a Twilight
Look,
fan.
Trayvon, I'm with you, man. It's the idea of, again, Twilight. I don't believe was made for me, but when you peel it back and you view it for what it was supposed to be, then you can kind of respect it a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, well, it's like Fast and the Furious. Those movies aren't meant for Oscars. But if you go into there knowing it's a mindless popcorn flick, you 100%.
Okay, I feel like I'm the person that they did make Twilight for, and no.
I mean, look. Here's the thing.
I'm not a vampire lore purist, but sparkling in the sun.
No, that's true. But looking back, and we're gonna get into what if, Prime. I'm gonna start with you. But looking back, we now know that it wasn't the actors. Robert Pattinson is a very gifted actor. It was 100% that script. That had to have been.
Well, and the book.
Well, I didn't read the book. I don't want to come for the book. I didn't read the book. But that script was easily one of the worst scripts. It's up there with probably 90% of the Fast and Furious scripts. It was just, it's like, well, you guys weren't looking for people to act. You were looking for good action sequences or something. But Jamie, I see you posting Team Jacob there.
Man, that was like that. I'm sorry. I know that we're getting into what if, but can I tell you, that was my college experience. I couldn't step into my college, like any classroom, without seeing a million people, Team Jacob, Team Edward. And I think that's what made me hate it even more, where I was just like looking around, I was like, ew.
Yeah, I remember my cousin took me to see Twilight. And I remember.
Do you still talk to that cousin?
No, actually, no, I don't. But not because of that, but it should have been. I remember leaning over going, he just won't wear a shirt, huh? And she goes, well, what's the big deal? And I go,
exactly, what's wrong with it?
You know what was funny?
Trayvon, like, I'm behind you with the John Cena, but come on, this one.
It's just funny looking around, and I just go, there are just no other guys in here, huh? All right, okay, all right. She fooled me on that one. She 100% was just like, oh, come on, there'll definitely be other guys there, and I was just like, all right, I don't think so, but okay. I'm looking around, I'm just like, Nope. Like you guys know when Cap caught Mjolnir, how like the theaters went crazy.
Yeah.
Girls were going insane when he took his shirt off, and I'm just like, I don't. What is it? Like, what are you guys clapping? Like they were standing up clapping. 3 people.
It was a moment.
I was just like, what a moment. He never wore a shirt.
Okay,
like,
okay.
What are you celebrating? But anyway, all right.
Trayvon's looking in his portfolio to see if he can get a picture up of Edward in the background.
Yeah, no, thank you, Trayvon. I will block you. Do that. All right, let's go to the comments really quickly. All in the game says, not anyone can be Black Panther. You have to be of royal blood. People keep making that small mistake. Very true. Listener Jim, I thought we needed more of Killmonger, and I wish they could have maybe given him the mantle. I disagree. I think people keep forgetting the whole point of his death was he wanted to die. It wasn't like T'Challa going, nah, you deserve to die. It was him wanting to die.
Yeah,
so
bringing offer to bring him back.
Right. So bringing someone who wanted to die back is like, well, that scene will never mean the same ever again. You know, like Stark was a sacrifice. Bringing him back is different. He wasn't like, you know what? Instead of living and saving the day, I want to die and save the day. No, that's different. He was a
this agenda. You see this agenda? You see this? So you just want him to come back home. Is that what you're trying to do?
Oh yeah, no, Juwan is definitely like
But it's two different things. Would you say Killmonger was a sacrifice? He didn't sacrifice himself. It was 100% like I have no interest in being a prisoner. None. So again, you bring him back, that whole dialogue at that end and then watching the sun, it washes all that away because he's back now. So it's like, well, what? Let's see. We got something else from All in the Game. To all those wanting to recast T'Challa, not only do you put a huge pressure on any actor coming in to play T'Challa, but he needs to be charming, PR/media trained guru to deal with the incoming, but also needs to be a great actor that can pull off the great accent that matches Lupita's and Denai's while having a great physical presence. So stop mentioning people like John David. John David is 100% a strong presence.
Well, who else?
And
someone is hating on John David Washington.
And
do they have a suggestion?
But here's the thing: the accent is something that no one will be able to duplicate what Chadwick did with the accent. So I mean, I'm not looking for someone to duplicate that. That'd be like someone saying, "Well, you got to duplicate Christian Bale's growl." I would never ask anyone to do that. Like,
we don't need that growl.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't need that. Again, whoever comes in as Black Panther, whether it's T'Challa, whoever is the new Black Panther, I don't need you to be Chadwick Boseman. I don't need you to be anywhere near what Chadwick Boseman was. I need you to be you and make that character unique to you. That's it. That's all I need. That's all I need. So no, I don't need it to kind of be just like, you know, Chadwick took off the shoes and now someone's stepping into them. I need you to bring something new and different because I've seen what Chadwick can do as T'Challa. I don't need a carbon copy of that. You know, it's why each Batman is different. There's no, like, you don't look at Bale and Keaton and go, oh, it's just Bale trying to be Keaton. No, you don't want that. You want you to bring something unique to it. It's why that growl stands out for Bale more than anything else because it's so unique. Who the hell else had that growl?
Awful.
I agree, it was bad. But Brian, go ahead and kick us off, man. What were your thoughts on this amazing What If episode of What If T'Challa became Starlord?
Awesome, totally awesome. Of course, we got Jeffrey Wright again at the beginning, whose voice is just awesome as the Watcher. So he set the stage, but I thought it was really good. I enjoyed all the humor. They gave it to us right off the bat, especially seeing with Korath instantly knowing who Starlord was, you know, on this one. And if you remember in the movies, he was like, who? You know, he didn't know who he was in the movie, but I thought that was awesome. And then he was like really a fan, to be honest with you, apologizing to him while they're fighting and all that. Thought it was really cool how they essentially made the Ravengers were really like the Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, I mean, you know, I thought that was a great twist. Watching Thanos fight the Black Order That was pretty darn good. Drax is a bartender. I mean, everything was great. I think they played it really, really good. And Howard the Duck, sneaking my guy Howard the Duck in, one of the most scrutinized movies ever in the '80s. Either you love it or you hate it, you know. But it's part of Marvel, so it is what it is. But and the boy and the collector essentially first he was great, but essentially cosplaying like he comes out with the hella, the hella deal. I thought it was really good, man. I think it was an episode that they knew people were gonna be a little emotional with watching, listening to Chadwick Boseman's voice in this. So I think they did a great job with the humor, as well as the seriousness in this movie. But I thought it was really, really good. I wasn't here last week. I'm still overall not 100% a fan of the comic art, the drawing, the illustration, but it's okay. I liked it a little bit better in this episode than I did the first episode. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this episode, and like Trayvon mentioned earlier before we started, we think we're going to get some more Chadwick before this thing is over. We're hoping. What they're saying, he's supposed to have some more, being some more episodes. So we're going to see. But I thought this was really good.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the collector cosplaying, I know we probably won't get it, but I would like some more information as to how he has Mjolnir, how he has Cap Shield.
Yeah.
Did he defeat the Avengers? Yeah, did he defeat the Avengers and then just obviously, live up to his name and collect those items? I was thinking are we gonna see him use Cap Shield on T'Challa or Mjolnir? They obviously didn't go that far, but he lived up to his name. The guy's the collector. It's one thing I thought Guardians of the Galaxy, touched on, but didn't really go all out because obviously it wasn't necessary to the story. But you only really saw a few things collected. I would have liked to have seen a collection quite like this one, where it's just massive. He has literally everything here. So yeah, I mean, I definitely thought that was great. But Prime, before I pass it to Tia, did you want to speak on the end credit scene?
No. Well, let somebody else do that. I do want to squeeze in though. That I will say this. I do want to say that when we're talking about some of the humor and this, I really love because like I said, I mentioned way before we started doing What If, when we were talking about it was coming. I kind of grew up as a huge fan of the What If comics, and the majority of those were a little more serious in tone. I mean, he had some great stories. What if Wolverine was the agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.? What if the Phoenix hadn't died? What if Wolverine had killed the Hulk? I mean, it's most of the ones were really, really serious, right? But I kind of like the tone they're taking with these, especially in this one. And we're getting some seriousness, but we're getting a whole lot of humor with it to round it out. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I'll pass it to you. The end credit scene, the Prime has no interest in.
Are you talking about the Peter Quill one? Is
yeah.
that one okay.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting because that spells really the end of the world. You then go to someone who had no family to now seeing his dad, and his dad now can corrupt him better than he could before. Because Peter had the love of his friends. He had, he had something to kind of rely on. But now that there's nothing, once he sees that he's essentially not only a god, but a king. There's a palace that his dad Ego lives in. I think it will do nothing good for him whatsoever. Or who knows? Maybe Ego just kills him, drains him of his power, and is just like, well. I told you guys in the movie I didn't need 8,000 of these other kids, so you're not special. You know what I'm saying? But Tia, your thoughts on that end credit scene, and then your thoughts on the What If episode.
Yeah, I thought the end credit scene was really interesting because, and I'll get into the episode in a second. Obviously, we see T'Challa as Starlord, so I guess in the back of your head, you sit there and go, oh, well, Peter Quill is just someone who either doesn't exist in this universe or is just this normal kid. I love the end credit scene personally, just because I mean he was wearing his Walkman and things, so it had those nice little tie-ins to the movie universe. And then to see Ego show up in that whole, as you said, John, like what happens with Peter Quill now that he doesn't have anyone, and now Ego approaching him. So that was really cool, and that's one of those things that these what if episodes, as cool as they are being these standalones, you do hope to revisit some of these worlds to see a tail end of what they're teasing, you know. So I certainly do hope that we revisit that, because that's really cool. But this episode I love this episode because I never thought of what if T'Challa was anyone else other than Black Panther, and certainly never what if T'Challa was Starlord. And as Prime mentioned, I absolutely love that beginning where, you know, because in the movie Korath going, who? And then him like, oh my God, I'm such a big fan. You did that thing and that thing. And he's like, is it okay if I'm like, you know, geeking out right now? And he's like, yeah, no, it's fine. I loved it. It was so cool to see T'Challa as this like, and it really touches upon who the character was in the movie universe. It touches upon what Chadwick was able to do with the character, because he was such a humanitarian in this. Yes. I mean, him and Jan, like, I love Peter Quill and Yondu's relationship, right? But there was something so beautiful about their relationship. There was no real bickering. They were like on the same page. It was wonderful. He convinced Thanos that to abandon his genocide plan. I mean, I'm like, is there nothing T'Challa can't do? I mean, it's as if he's Jesus. I'm sorry, like everyone is like, oh yeah, he did this and he brought this, and this is why everything's at peace with in harmony. I mean, because he was able to kind of talk Thanos out of things. We see Nebula is thriving, you know, her body isn't as mechanical as it is in the movies because she wasn't abused nearly as much. I loved her character in it. I love the little twist where we thought that Nebula was bad, but in reality, she was all according to plan. Loved that. And I love that end. Oh my God, that end was so amazing, where it was like, he was able to have essentially these two families, where he had Yondu, but then he also brought them to Wakanda, and everyone's having this nice, I love the whole, I forget who said in Wakanda, but they're talking to Thanos and they're like, that sounds a lot like genocide. Like, it's just like, was it? Yeah. She's like, that sounds like genocide. And it's like, it was just so amazing. And I think that it showed that even just in a voiceover role, that Chadwick was able to bring something so special to his character, which makes it even harder us talking about the potential of recasting him, because he was able to do this. But to me, the episode was so great. It felt like a love letter to Chadwick, but also just this really fun world where you're imagining all these people like hanging out together again, like Thanos just hanging out with the Ravagers. I mean, to me that was hilarious. I loved what is the guy, James Gunn's brother Sean Gunn? I forget who he plays in
Kraglin. Is it Kraglin? I think it's Kraglin.
I think it's Kraglin.
Yeah. I don't know. I loved him in this episode. I've loved him in the movies just because of how ridiculous he is. So it's like I loved him in the episode. I thought it was great. It was so much fun. And the Collector was badass. I never really imagined him in such a badass way, but I was like, holy shit, you are ripped as shit and you are badass. And I did love that little Hela thing there. So it was a great episode. It was great. This whole series, like, and again, we've only seen the first 3 episodes, but I can definitively say, like, I love these episodes. They're so freaking good.
Yeah, and I love when Kraglin and Taserface bring T'Challa.
Taserface.
And he's just like, do these 2 kids look anything alike? He's like, I don't know, man. He got 2 ear holes, 2 seeds.
Oh yeah, the way he said it too was so hilarious.
Yeah, he's like, he got a mouth hole. Isn't that's it, right?
And Yondu's just like, well, you want to go on? And T'Challa has this thing. He's like, yeah, I want to go on an adventure. And he's like, well, why stop with one world when you can see all the worlds? And it's like, of course, a little kid is like, That's amazing.
I mean, yeah, the way he said that definitely sounded like how a Dateline episode begins.
No, stop, Juwan.
But
you are wrong for that.
I do like what Kraglin said, though. I do like how he said the energy this kid was omitting is large enough that it's like it should be what you're asking for. So it lets you know how strong of a signature vibranium is. That their scanners kind of picked it up and was just like, I don't know, vibranium, a god, same thing. Here you go. Just take this kid. But like you said, Tia, he was so polite in everything that he did. And what was so interesting was when you saw the fight at the beginning and he goes, "Oh, you're Starlord." And then he goes, "Oh, I shouldn't use a gun, should I?" And he's like, "No, whatever you want. You can use a gun. You want to use a gun?" He's just like, no, I want it to be fair. He's like, "It's fine." And then when he hits him, he's just like, "I am so sorry." He's like, no. Try it again, harder, faster. So I mean, I love the playfulness of his Starlord because it's more so him not wanting to be Starlord, but understanding that's the name that he was given. It was just so humble.
I will say that the one thing, and this is just coming from me as a fan, the one thing that I was a little disappointed as is that I wish we had seen Ronan. I mean, I know we saw Thanos, but when Korath mentioned Ronan, I'm like, is Ronan coming? Even in animated form, I just kind of wanted to see him again. But that literally is just like, just me from a selfish point of view.
I don't know how that works out because remember, we only got him because Thanos handpicked him to go get the stone for him.
Yeah, but didn't Korath still say that he was like working?
Yeah, he worked for him.
For
he said that Ronan was his boss.
Yeah. So wait, Ronan's still in the picture. Korath said it.
Mm-hmm. Korath said it at the beginning.
Who's Korath? Why am I blanking? Who's Korath?
The Who guy.
The fan out guy. The one that fanned out.
Yeah, like, oh, Starlord. You're Starlord.
Oh, no. What I'm saying is, okay, I get what you guys are saying. I'm going above that. I'm saying the only reason he sent that guy is because Thanos selected him and then he delegated it to that guy. So I'm saying if now Thanos isn't Infinity Stone hungry, I don't know where that leaves Ronan. Because Ronan's whole thing was the Kree War, and there was currently no Kree War at the time. So I think if Thanos doesn't select him, it's more so just like.
Do we still know that there was no Kree War? I mean,
no. Ronan only went to. I'm just talking the time of that of the Guardians movie. There was no Kree War. There was a Kree War before that Guardians movie for sure.
No, I'm just saying that like. Ronan still could have been motivated by that, just like not having Thanos by his side.
Oh no, motivated by killing what you call it? Yeah, for sure. But I'm saying his whole goal was to find that stone. But his only reason his goal was to find the stone was because Thanos sent him. So I'm like, if Thanos is now not stone hungry, I am curious where
his motivation is. It would be.
Yeah. Because obviously he's not looking for it because he doesn't know what it is. Remember, Thanos is who told him about the stone. So he had no idea what it was. That's why when he got it, he was just like, "No, I think I'll keep this. This is pretty powerful. I'll keep it." So I'm glad you brought that up, Tia, because I am curious. What does he do if there is no Thanos that enlists him? I mean, to a degree, it's the same thing with Loki. But then again, I do think they were saying he was going after the stones. It's just that T'Challa stopped him before he could actually snap, like before the events of Infinity War. But he was still looking for the stones.
Yeah, so I guess you could still say that the events like that happened with Ronan. I'm just saying I would have liked for Ronan to pop up, not for him to be like a Ravager or anything. He'd still be a bad guy. It's just like selfishly I want him to pop up.
No, I would have honestly liked to have seen, because remember, which I thought was very interesting. T'Challa had said that Thanos is now a Guardian. So I would have liked to have seen Ronan as that version of the Guardians Drax, like him being the muscle, or the strategist, or whatever you want to say. But I'm now more so curious what Thanos's Guardians of the Galaxy team looks like. Like, if you're Thanos, who else do you really need? You know? So I'm curious, who does he have as his team? That's very interesting. But Jamie, I'll kick it over to you. What were your thoughts on this episode?
I enjoyed it. I feel like I'm still kind of processing it, which is very, very possible because I literally like ran from class. I'm like, oh, I have to watch the episode. So I'm probably gonna give it another watch through tonight. But I enjoyed it. I was really like, I don't know. I was surprised by like how much things had changed, and especially seeing Thanos being a part of the picture and him being like somewhat of a benevolent force, and the way that T'Challa was able to just completely change like Star-Lord's role was really, really interesting to me. Because in the first episode, Peggy was basically doing like everything that Steve had done, but she like had her own flair to it. And then T'Challa, like he was on a completely different trajectory than Peter Quill ever was. So I'm kind of curious as to, well, I think Gamora probably would still be on her home planet because Thanos didn't kidnap her. But are Rocket and Groot like in jail, or like where are they at? And we saw Drax at the bar, so I'm wondering like how his family life is doing, since he really cared like really deeply for his wife and daughter.
He said it to T'Challa. They're alive because he said come here, let me send this photo to my wife and daughter. They're I think he said his daughter was a fan of Starlord. So in this reality,
everyone's a fan of Starlord apparently.
Right. So in this world, Jamie, Thanos doesn't kill he doesn't kill Drax's wife and daughter.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering like how, I don't know, this is kind of just like a weird question to ask, but I guess just like, how is their family life now that they're actually together and like they're all alive? Like, is his daughter like a teenager and she's rebelling against him or whatever? Or, like, I'm just kind of curious because Drax is such an interesting character. I'm like, I wonder what like a family of Draxes would be. But yeah, I just really had fun with this one.
She's standing stiff and the daughter's just saying metaphors because she learned it in high school. You know, that's how it goes.
That would be great though. You know, that would be a great like cartoon. If they, you know what, if they could do a Drax cartoon, kind of like the DC has the Harley Quinn deal. I think it'd be pretty funny.
It would definitely be one of the most dry humor episodes you could possibly have. It's kind of like what I tell people Seinfeld is. Like, Seinfeld is one of those very dry humors that you have to just get. It's not just actively funny. You know what I'm saying? It's not like The Office where it's like, oh, Dwight is setting the office on fire. That's hilarious. It's more so just like, you had to have lived some kind of life to understand some of these jokes. So I imagine a Drax show would be essentially Seinfeld. Where it's just like, oh, that was supposed to be funny. He was saying a joke. Oh, okay. All right. I didn't understand it at first.
But yeah, what else? Oh, I also liked the Collector had the shield and Mjolnir and a bunch of other weapons. And I'm curious as to like someone said earlier, like what happened to the Avengers? Like, did they get defeated and he was able to just collect them after that? And I think, I don't know, the way that they set up the end of the episode with like showing Peter Quill being approached by Ego, like I feel like they kind of have to play that out at this point, especially with it being like an end credit scene. So I'm wondering if the Avengers aren't there to protect Earth, like who's going to show up? But yeah, I really like this episode. Although I think for right now, I like the first one a little bit better, but it's still really good.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like I have more fun with it. Maybe it's just because it's a little more like flashy action and explosions, but I felt like I had a little bit more fun with it. But I still really like this one.
I mean, they're both awesome. So I mean,
yeah, I think real quick for me, I guess I wasn't here last week. I didn't dislike the first one. It was cool. It was all right, but I love this one a lot more. And maybe I was, because maybe I'm one of the few people that actually liked the Agent Carter. I was a fan of the show. I've watched it through about 3 or 4 times already. So
Yeah, I loved it too.
yeah, I'm a fan of the show. Was a fan of the show, but that I was looking for something a little different than what we got. But yeah, it was an episode. It was first episode was good. But to your point, Jamie, when Jamie said about the talking about all the weapons and stuff that the collector had gotten, and we're all asking the same question, like what happened. I mean, we already said we're probably going to see Agent Carter again, from what we're hearing, and we probably Chadwick's supposed to be coming along, but we may find out. We probably. I got a feeling we probably find out what happened.
I will say
if they're
though,
saying,
no, go ahead.
I'm sorry, John.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say if they're saying that Chadwick, is voicing the character in like 2 or 3 other episodes. I mean, I can't imagine that they're separate universe. I mean, they could be separate universes, but it would be such a shame if it wasn't, in the same universe as.
Well,
I read something that I thought they could be connected.
Well, they spoiled it already. Marvel dropped a car commercial for What If, where well, this isn't me spoiling anything, but in the car commercial, it shows Thor, Starlord, T'Challa's Starlord, Gamora and Thanos' armor, and I couldn't really make out maybe Doctor Strange. So it showed that's the Avengers, is that core team. So, but the Peter Quill thing, I don't know if that'll be revisited, only because I think that was more so to just let people know what the actual Peter Quill, what his story was, what his story ended up being since he did not become Starlord. Kind of like throwing in Drax was just to kind of show you, well, this is what Drax would be doing if he wasn't Drax the Destroyer. So I don't know if that Peter Quill thing will really come into fruition. I think it was more so to kind of give us a story maybe for season 2, down the line, because it is something we all want to see more of, because at some point, I think his dad will still let it slip on, I killed your mom. And I'm curious what a full-powered Star-Lord does against a full-powered ego. I tell people this all the time. Star-Lord in the comics went toe-to-toe against Thanos. No stone.
Yeah.
No stone. No stone. He went toe-to-toe on the moon against Thanos. So Star-Lord is a very strong character when he has a celestial energy inside.
You know what's going to happen, don't you? You know what's going to happen? He's going to be Black Panther.
Look, don't get Kevin.
You're just gonna give the fans more reason to hate Peter Quill.
Hey, that's what I'm here for.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Nah.
No, but I mean that does leave a very interesting question, because I'm pretty sure his dad will explain to him the importance of the Black Panther. And if you're T'Challa, you kind of have a decision to make. Do I want to be Black Panther? Or do I want to continue life as Star-Lord? Because if you're Black Panther, you can only stay in Wakanda. You can't be out in space, because if some stuff is happening here, I don't need you flying here. I need you to be here. So that'll be interesting to see who will take that mantle. I mean, of course, Shuri is there. We assume. So, I mean, she definitely could.
Well, I wonder who is it right now.
Well, I assume still his dad.
But he's like older. Like, what if Killmonger is it now? What if he's already Black Panther? What if he's not Killmonger, he's Black Panther right now? What about that?
I low-key was thinking during the episode, like, if T'Challa's missing and I'm forgetting all the circumstances that happened to where Killmonger's dad dies, but like I was thinking, what if they replace T'Challa with Killmonger, so then he grows up as like the rightful Black Panther, and he comes back home and he's like, oh, y'all replaced me. Okay.
They go to
Well, no, I mean-
America and they're like, hey, we lost one child. We need to bring this child now to Wakanda to be the king.
You're
If it's
welcome now.
connected-
Come on.
Yeah.
If it's connected at all, we know that Killmonger is still Killmonger because we see him as Killmonger saving Stark. So we know that no, he didn't grow up in Wakanda, or he wouldn't have been.
Well, you
of a
see him.
war.
You don't know if he's Killmonger. You just see him.
That's
You
the
see him
same-
helping.
It's the
Yeah, you
same
see
as
him.
Killmonger's
Killmonger is a killer. Killmonger is a killer. You don't know if he's a killer.
No,
you don't know if
Killmonger is his name.
I'm saying, but he does. When I think of Killmonger, I think of the guy that has the stuff all over him because of the kid, like all that. Maybe he's
But
not
he
like that.
did. Well, that was done for the movie. That's not comic accurate. He's not like what's his name from Batman, where he puts all the murder on.
Zaz.
Yeah, no, that's not Killmonger. That was done for the movie. But no, that's the Killmonger attire. So it's like it would make no sense for the Black Panther to be in the middle of a war zone. So that doesn't really add up. I think it makes more sense that his dad, since he's alive, is the current Black Panther. Because remember, the dad's not fighting as an old man. He puts himself in the suit, and he still has the power of the Panther God. Right. So I mean, him being old doesn't really stunt his ability to be a good Black Panther. And remember, even T'Challa said in Civil War, his dad dying is why he then suits up as the Black Panther. He wasn't the Black Panther before. That's something that's passed down. You can't just like your dad can't go, hey, I retire. So,
but he had it with him when he was there, didn't he? Didn't he already have it?
He took the ring off of his dad and put the ring on. No, and also remember, the suit was made because his dad believed at some point he would die. So it's like, I'm not gonna leave him my suit. Here's the suit for you. But we obviously see his dad had a different suit because that's what the movie started with.
He just brought it with him.
A different
yeah,
suit.
when he was young. Yeah.
But he didn't get older and change his suit. That was his suit. Anyway, let's go to the before we end this off with you, Trayvon. Let's go to some of the comments. Shout out to Joe, just your average Joe. As great as it was to hear Chadwick and see him again, after his passing, I not only enjoyed the episode a lot, but also thought seeing Thanos be on the good side was great, especially the genocide and efficient joke. Joe said the fire episode on The Office is one of my favorite scenes in the whole series. I still laugh. That's one of the greatest openings in anything comedy.
100.
Anything comedy. Let's see. I agree with Jamie. The Captain Carter one had better action sequences. That's what I wanted to say when you brought that up, Jamie. I think why I enjoyed this episode more than that first one was that wasn't ever a what if that intrigued me. Like that wasn't, it was never something I ever thought about. It played out well. I enjoyed the episode. As we talked about it last week, but I never ever thought T'Challa being Starlord could interest me until I saw it. And then I was just like, that's really interesting. I like that. I like the idea of that. But Peggy becoming Captain America is something to me that wasn't far-fetched. It wasn't something that was just like, that's not a what if that's really plausible. You know what I'm saying? So it made sense, is what I'm saying. What ifs to me have to be outside the box. Prime, I was telling them last week, one of the what ifs that I was a big fan of was, what if Daredevil's villains knew he was blind?
Yeah.
That's
Indeed.
very interesting to me, because you would think, because we as the reader know he's blind, his villains don't know that. So picture finding out, like, damn, he whooped my ass yesterday. He can't even see? Like, what? Yeah. So the idea of knowing that is an advantage now for the bad guys. So that's a very interesting prospect that I never really thought of. It's a simple one, but you don't really think of that, So stuff like that is very intriguing to me. All in the Game says Agent Carter, the Agent Carter show was dope. I never really gave it a chance. I never really did. I got to be honest with you.
Go and check it, Jawan. It's a good show, man. It was good.
I don't know. Martin keeps telling me to go back and watch Agents of Shield, but
I was gonna say Prime saying that he's like seen Agent Carter 4 times reminds me that like Martin and his wife Kathy, I think, are on their like 6th rewatch of Agents of Shield. Shout out to Martin and Kathy, by the way.
Yes, huge shout out to Martin and Kathy. Just your average Joe. My only question with the episode though is, wasn't Starlord a name Peter Quill took on for himself, or am I wrong? It was a name that he took on.
His mom gave it to him as a kid.
Right, but it was a moniker that he chose to carry on. But in this, I think they're going with the idea of he is a literal star, a lord of the stars. And it's a name that he didn't give himself. And he even says, I don't really like it, but, you know, whatever. So, you know, that is interesting. So it's him kind of rebelling against the name. Meanwhile, Star-Lord from our universe is like, why won't anyone call me this? Like, how do people not know me?
I'm sorry, that was like one of the best scenes in Guardians of the Galaxy 1, where it finally calls him Star-Lord. He's like, yes.
We loved it.
But that's just, you know, in T'Challa's humble nature. I mean, even in one of the best scenes in Infinity War is when Rhodey tells Bruce to bow, and he goes to bow, and T'Challa's like, we don't do that here. You know, and I mean, that's just T'Challa. He's so humble.
By the way, again, I know I've said this to you a million times, Infinity War is the far superior Avengers movie, but I watched it again yesterday. I forgot that T'Challa foreshadowed his own death in that movie. When he met the Black Order at the force field, and you know, they were saying how, like, you know, we're gonna kill you, whatever, and he said, no, Thanos will only be met by blood and dust. And then Thanos arrives and he only ensues blood and dust. So I thought that was really interesting on how he foreshadowed his own death at the time. He was just like, look, somebody dying by dust. And it was just like, well, you died by dust. Like, it was you. All right, just a few more comments here, Trayvon. All in the Game says, yeah, he was Black Panther already in Civil War. His dad stepped down from being Black Panther. No, it was a peaceful time for Wakanda. So there was really no need for a Black Panther at the time. Because remember, once his dad died is where everyone around Wakanda kind of thought it was up for grabs before T'Challa then. Because remember, here's how you know he wasn't Black Panther during Civil War, before Civil War. He had just been sworn in the Black Panther movie as the Black Panther. He would have already done that if he had been Black Panther before. He had to go through the whole trials and everything. And we know that movie takes place after Civil War.
That shows to be king, not to be Black Panther.
No, it's one and the same. It's something that you have to earn.
Well, you would imagine that he was being trained. I mean, he's
no.
We're being assumed he's like the firstborn son of the king. So
he already had that.
He was obviously being, you know, trained, and he very well could have just, I don't know how to suit laying around. But then when he came back, they were like, I know that because your dad died, you thought you're Black Panther, but we still got to go through the proper channels, such as this fight, for you to officially become Black Panther.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But the suit I think his dad had made for him, because again, like you said, Trayvon, his dad's old as hell. So I think in his mind, I don't think he thought he'd be doing it forever. So I think he was grooming T'Challa to be ready for when the time comes to be the Black Panther. But we know he didn't have the herb in him during Civil War. So it was legit just his ability.
Wait, I thought he did.
During Civil War.
Didn't they have to drain it from him when he got back? Then they already, like, they had to take it out of him so he could fight.
No, he had to take it.
No, I remember him draining him at the beginning of the movie, didn't he? At the beginning of Black Panther.
No, he had to take it. He had to take it.
No, okay.
Go ahead and rewatch it. He took it. It was the whole ceremony. He had to take it.
I remember the ceremony.
He did have to take it.
Yeah, he did have to take it.
I remember him taking it, yeah.
Why would they drain it?
Okay.
Anyway, Joe asked, was Peggy Carter Captain America or Captain Britain? She had a Union Jack on, shield and costume. We argued about this last week, Joe. she should have just been Captain Britain. I
But they
understand
call her
why
Captain
she
Carter.
doesn't, because she obviously wasn't fighting for Britain, so that would have been a little confusing. I don't know why she didn't just call herself Captain America. I don't like the comic books were never called Captain Rogers, so calling her Captain Carter was just like, what? So yes, it was very confusing. But again, Stark built that suit and the design on the shield as an homage to where she's from, because obviously she was not from from here quite like Steve was. So that was more so. Wait, say it again, Trayvon.
I knew I was right. He had the power already. They stripped it away before he fought Mbaku. I know I was right.
No.
He did.
I'm saying that he got sworn in for it before. And then, yes, they took it away in that moment for the fight. But during Civil War, he did not have it.
Okay.
All right. Anyway.
You're not listening. He did have it.
So, yeah. So, to answer your question, Joe, she was neither Captain America or Captain Britain. She was Captain Carter. I don't know. Maybe she'll get the name now that she's with Fury and Hawkeye. Maybe they'll give her the name Captain America. I don't know. It was just never said. So it'd be weird if all of a sudden it was just like, hey, Captain America. And it's just like, I like that. Okay.
But I did want to ask really quick because I don't know if maybe I misheard somebody, but I thought I heard that like all these stories could be connected in some way. So I'm like, if we don't have Steve, because in the first episode, like, she travels to the future, so Steve would be like old or had passed away at that point. And we still have Hawkeye and Fury, which maybe they've gone through the whole Hydra phase, or maybe Shield is just clean. Like, who? I don't know. I'm just confused as to how this is all going to come together, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, the moment where she lands is I know we all know this is how the first Avengers movie starts. So the events of Hydra haven't happened yet, as far as Fury finding out that Shield was corrupted. It hadn't happened yet. So at that point, I don't know, like, because again, they didn't have to break her from ice; she just appeared. So I'm sure there's going to be trials of trying to figure out, can they trust her? And then after that, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if Thor's hammer is in New Mexico. I don't know if Stark is some. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. We have to see how the rest of it forms.
So the first episode is connected to the second episode. Actually, no, that wouldn't make sense because Captain America's shield was there and it wasn't Captain Carter's shield. And then Thor's hammer was there too. So if they're supposed to be connected, unless they're gonna do like a crossing of like multiverses, I don't know.
Well, that's what I assumed that they were,
about,
that they were all like multiverses. So they didn't take place in the same universe. They're all separate universes, but at some point they're all going to meet each other, perhaps due to the conflict that was caused by the end of the Loki series. Some shit like that.
But Jamie, you see why I hate the multiverse, right?
See, this is why I like it, because it's it's like when you have your headphones and they'll tangle up, and then you try and like you straighten it. When you finally straighten it, you're like, yes.
I mean, it can happen. I mean, we're even hearing that these things at some point are going to tie into the movies at some point, so all that could happen.
Yeah. Yep.
Anything's possible.
Trayvon, go ahead and wrap us up. What were your thoughts on this new episode of What If Starlord of T'Challa with Starlord? And then really your thoughts on, because you were saying you were going to talk about the multiverses kind of coming together, and that's how we see these characters interact. Even though I think the main continuity that they would be coming to is where Sharon Carter burst through. That I think is the prime universe, and then all the other universes kind of connect to that, because that looks like that's the prime Earth for this multiverse of What If. But go ahead, Trayvon.
I thought the episode was really fun. I mean, he's still T'Challa, still a great person from the start. It doesn't matter what role he has. It seems he's still a great. Like Starlord with Peter Quill was selfish, wanted money, just all that. But this one, he's trying to give back, and it's just really. I was taken aback by that. I was like, oh, so you changed the Ravagers too, because they're doing what you're doing. So it's like interesting. So you really like made everybody better. It's really weird. Even Thanos. I was like, and I
He
started thinking
gave
about
Nebula freaking hair, man.
yeah,
Golden
yeah.
locks.
I was like, how long ago did you meet Thanos for you to talk him out of this? Like when did this happen? Like, I don't want to see it. Like, what part of the timeline did that happen? What age were you when you did that? I was just funny. I just a lot of thoughts and a lot of more questions for me when I was watching it. It was like, oh, especially when we saw the collector's chest of stuff and or weapons. I was like, wait a minute. Because that's when I started thinking about it. I saw Cap shield. I was like, shouldn't it be Captain Carter's shield? That's what I like instead of like that's what I was like, why is it that one? And that was the main thing I zeroed in on. I was like, wait a minute, that's the wrong shield. So I was like, is this connected? Will they ever meet? Because when she came through the portal, I was like, okay, that brings her to current times. That brings her to Avenger time. So I was like, maybe they will connect some kind of way. But once I saw that shield, it kind of threw it out of the way from me. I was like, so maybe they're not. I don't know. It's just a really fun episode. I mean, Howard the Duck. It's Howard the Duck. It was just fun to see him. That was good. I was okay. This is cute. I don't know. I do wonder about when he came back to Wakanda. Like you were trying to say that his dad is older, so he would pass along Black Panther. T'Challa is not there. Who would he give it to? Who would be doing it? Somebody has to be doing it right now. Somebody has to have the suit, maybe the herb and all that right now. So I'm just curious about that too. Like I want to see. I want to see what Killmonger is doing. Why is he there? Why is he picking up a rocket or missile or whatever? Like, what is that? I can't wait till we get to that part since they teased it.
Also, no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, you go ahead. What are you about to say?
No, I was just gonna say. Also, I think we have to keep in mind if you're Marvel and you just made this stance of, obviously you're not recasting T'Challa. I think they would wait until the second movie comes out to do any establishing of who in a what if universe is the Black Panther. Because when you say stuff like some of the events in What If could connect to the actual live action stuff, if you put anybody in that suit before any information about the second movie comes out, a lot of people will assume, well, maybe that's where they're going in the second movie.
True.
Well,
and I think because they haven't released any information about that second movie, they would wait until after they establish that. I think because here, and again, I have not seen, as my witness, I have not seen the Killmonger episode, but I think that episode is more catered around Stark, who makes weapons, befriends a guy who's looking for weapons. And it's now not funding like money-wise, but fueling Killmonger's revenge with aiding him in weaponry that he needs to achieve his goal. I don't think it's a alternate universe where now Killmonger goes home, they accept him, he becomes Black Panther. I think it's what if Killmonger could actually achieve his goal, which is revenge. It was never really to become Black Panther. He just wanted revenge. He wanted the weapons to be able to fuel that said revenge. And now you have a guy who makes the best weapons in the land, and Tony Stark, who now owes you one. So I think the episode of that is more so him getting the weapons he needs to fuel his revenge. So that's why I think Marvel may stay away from who else could become Black Panther, if not T'Challa, till maybe later, where you could really play around with it.
I see. For me, I guess. You say you don't want T'Challa. You want T'Challa replaced. For me, I assume they're going to give Black Panther to someone else. That's not the same thing to me. Like, they can give the suit and the herb to somebody else that is in the bloodline. They can do that. I expect them to do that. I don't expect them to stop the character of Black Panther. I just expect them to not do T'Challa anymore. That's what I expect for them to do. But I think that's why I don't have a problem with Killmonger becoming Black Panther, because he is in the bloodline, so it does work. I'm still trying to think.
He's also dead though.
Or Shuri. Shuri.
Shuri,
cool.
Shuri in the comics was the Black Panther, so that makes all the sense. Yeah, it makes all the sense. Cool.
I'm trying to think what else in this episode that I don't know. I like that they kept T'Challa being a good person all the way through all of this. Sure.
He was a humanitarian, as both characters. Both T'Challa, the Black Panther, and T'Challa, the Starlord.
That would actually be interesting now that I think about it. A what if episode where T'Challa's the bad guy. Just saying. You mentioned that being a good guy, but
it'll be fun.
Yeah. Just as long as I should say just as long as you don't use Chadwick's voice. Clearly, you wouldn't be able to. But just as long as you distance.
Wow, Joanne.
No. I was saying, like, you don't want to make Chadwick's T'Challa bad.
No. I'm just saying,
you want to make just the character T'Challa bad. Voice, obviously someone else's version of T'Challa. I get what you're saying. I'm just saying,
would have been an interesting what if episode.
For sure. Yeah, 100%. All right. So before we get out of here, I want to give some shout out to Tia. Tia got a chance to check out Shang-Chi. The reviews were amazing from Tia. So Tia, I'll go ahead and let you, obviously just kind of repeat what we posted on Twitter. Obviously no spoilers, which, by the way, Heroic Hollywood, you suck, bro. They just, as one of their posts, released a spoiler from that movie. I'm obviously not going to say what it is, but you really suck, bro. You have to know better than that.
You know how bad it's about to get, though? Because they're doing like a fan screening tonight. And I was like, this is going to
be... But see, here's
like
the difference.
3 weeks away.
But here's the difference. I can avoid that. I would have never expected a company to release any kind of spoiler. Like, sure. You're supposed to know better. Fans, if they want to talk, that's what they do. You can't stop that. But a company, that'd be like if we came out.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it now, and I was like, as soon as I saw that, I'm like, why wouldn't you leave that for fans to actually see when they go and see it? I just because I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say it. I'm just saying I looked right now on the Twitter because I was like, what is he talking about? As soon as it's like the first thing that popped up, and I'm like, wow, Heroic Hollywood.
That was really
sorry.
dirty.
that's
Everyone
dirty.
Do your best to avoid Reddit, to avoid Twitter till September 3rd and experience it for yourself. If you're one of those people that don't care and you want to check it out, by all means, you do you. But just be careful. The people had Luke Skywalker. People had Luke Skywalker in the Mandalorian finale as their header at 4:00 in the morning, and it's like, bro. People are now going to wake up and see that and go, like, they're seeing it out of context. So they're like, not only did you spoil it, I don't even know what this is. Did he show up? Like, was this an end credit scene?
I hate that.
It's just like, go ahead, Trayvon, say it again.
Oh, no, I didn't say that. Jamie said something.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just saying, I hate that because it's like, here's the thing. People who are on Twitter who absolutely need to say a spoiler, do the tag where it's like, you put different images of like random things, seemingly random things, but it's actually like things that are in the movie. And for people who actually have seen it, they're like, oh, I get what that is. That's funny. But for people who haven't seen it, they're like, rubber ducky. Okay. And they move on. Like, I would prefer you do that. So that way I'm like not looking for something specific in the movie, because I'm definitely the kind of person, as soon as I read something like, oh, that's in the movie, then I'm just like, no, it hasn't happened yet. No, it hasn't happened. Oh, there it happened. And so it just kind of ruins it for me.
Yeah, I am spoilers. I'm very, very, very against spoilers. I remember Force Awakens was spoiled for me. Someone had as their bumper sticker, Kylo killed Han. Like, why? Like, why? You know what I'm saying? Why? What was the point of that? Like, why? Why are you ruining it now for an entire an entire city that you're driving by. For what? What joy do you get out of that? I don't understand.
I think people really don't think when they do that stuff. Like they're just so excited to just do it. I'm like,
But
serious?
all I try to get across to those people is you got a chance to experience it for yourself, right? And enjoy everything without knowing anything. Why would you think I wouldn't want that? Like, why would you think I want you to now come tell me so I don't have to see it? No, I want to see it too. Shut up. But I'm sorry.
I think the worst spoiler experience, just real quick.
Yeah,
I have to say that because it makes me mad every time I think about it. I was talking with my friend about Invincible. I'm like, okay, season 1 was cool, but I heard things get like super crazy after that. And he was saying that he had seen some spoilers or whatever. I'm like, okay, don't tell me. But I'm just talking about this one specific thing. And he thought, I really don't think he thought this, but he said he thought I was talking about a spoiler. So he just started blurting stuff out. He's like, oh, so then that happened, and then this happened, and then that happened. I'm like, why? Why did you say all of that? He's like, oh, I thought that's what you were talking about. I'm like, you said like a whole 10-page essay in 10 seconds. I didn't tell you any of that. Why? That's so now I will never talk to that guy about Invincible ever again. I won't do it.
What she wants to say is that she'll never talk to that guy ever again.
No, we still talk, but I'm just like, I won't talk to you about Invincible ever again. Don't even say the word. We're not talking about it.
What were you saying, Prime?
This made me think about a while back when even over in my group, in the Sports Bar Podcast, we had a whole discussion because the idiot LaShawn McCoy had tweeted out spoilers to Endgame, and it was ridiculous, man. Then later on, like, I didn't know, but dude, you knew, man. Come on, man.
Here's the thing. Movies come out now Thursday night, right?
Yeah.
So average people have to see it Friday night or over the weekend, right? Mm-hmm. Thursday nights are unanimous for hardcore fans. That's who usually goes out Thursday night, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like clearly the rest of the world didn't all 8 billion people didn't go out Thursday night to see this all at the same time. Clearly. No. So it's like it's opening night. You have to assume there's people that have not seen it yet. It's just simple as that.
It seems like a very offensive to me. It's like maybe offensive is a very strong word, but it's not considerate of other people's time who aren't going to get the chance to see it on opening night or even opening weekend or even the second weekend, you know? But I know I'm very fortunate to see a lot of these Marvel movies before they come out. And I will not spoil Shang-Chi, but I will say that you will all enjoy it. It was a lot of fun. It doesn't waste time with the action. It has great hand-to-hand combat scenes. Simu is an awesome lead. The visuals are crazy. There's so many scenes in the movie that haven't even made it to the trailer. If you think that you know the movie by the trailer, you don't. But it's just so awesome. I was so blown away again by the visuals, the hand-to-hand. Tony Lung, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's great in his position. It's just a really awesome origin movie, and that's what it is. It is an origin movie, and I think that it's awesome. And both the mid and end credit scene are great. Both of them are awesome. I got excited for both of those, and I just think that it really is like a great movie. I got like a little mad about this person on Twitter who they were like, how would you rate it? And I said an 8 out of 10. And they're like, oh, that's low. And I'm like, how is that low? In what world is an 8 out of 10 like a low score? I'm like, that's a great score. I'm like, it wasn't a 10 out of 10, but that's not an insult. No movie really is a 10 out of 10. I was like, got it. Okay. But I'm just saying it was a great Marvel movie. It was a fun Marvel movie to go see. And again, it's just this really like fun movie that I think really showcased that Simu is going to be a great addition to the MCU in the future.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Tia. I don't think, as much as I rave about Infinity War, there's not a Marvel movie that I give a 10 out of 10 to.
Yeah.
9 out of 10.
Well, Captain America Winter
Soldier.
Soldier.
Yeah, I'm about to say that too. Yeah, I'm about to say.
I would
Sorry.
not give that movie a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that's pretty darn close, dog. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I give it a 9, but a 10 out of 10 means there was literally nothing wrong with it, and I did not like the pacing of the third act. I just didn't. I didn't. So that was my biggest issue with that movie.
I only give the movie an 8 out of 10 because, and I said this on Twitter, there are a few comedic instances that are just a little ill-placed and they come from one actor specifically, but I don't want to go into it because it's like you may feel differently. That's just how I felt while watching it, but other people could watch it and say, you know what, that actor hit those lines every single time. So it's like, for me, it's an 8 out of 10. And to me, I'm like, that's a great score. A lot of movies I review, especially the indie films, they're good, but it's like, 6. To me, I'm like, as long as it's over a 5, you're like, yeah, it was a good movie. It had a lot of faults, but like, to me, I like the original Suicide Squad. I'm like, yeah, that's like a 5 or 6 out of 10. That doesn't mean I disliked it. It's a flawed movie, but it's still good. I still like it.
5 out of 10.
It's still fun.
That's
still
right there. That's on the fence. That's like, you were good, but it's like that but is very strong.
I don't know.
Because of the characters. That's why.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, I was just like an 8 out of 10. I feel like I was like, wow, I'm being really cool. Like, giving it 8 out of 10, the person's like, oh, that's low, and I'm like, what? I don't need to feel bad. I like the movie a lot, and I feel like it has I think it's going to have a really great rewatchability, honestly.
I don't well, first of all, I don't usually watch other people review things, purely because I don't like having a mindset before I go into something. But
I don't watch it. I'm scared they're going to spoil it by mistake. They say it's not a spoiler.
Well, yeah,
that's what I was scared of. Yeah, well, it's not a spoiler because I was like, no, don't do that.
That's a spoiler.
Yeah, you know what, Trayvon? I second that. Like, to me, a spoiler isn't a major scene like, oh, this person dies. A spoiler to me could be, oh man, when blah 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 was drinking tea. Yeah, no, I wanted to see them drink the tea.
I didn't know they were in the movie.
Yeah, I didn't know he was gonna be drinking tea.
I didn't know they liked that tea.
Right. I didn't know he tea. Like, I needed to see that. So to me, a spoiler is a spoiler, no matter how small it is. Even a hint. Don't even hint at me. Like, no, don't do none of that. None of it. Let me see it, and then we could spend hours talking about it. But no. All in the Game Tia says, yeah, 8 out of 10 is definitely a great score.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, it's 100% a great score. I'm pretty sure every director will take an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Every director would take that. 5 out of 10. Where they go. Ooh.
I do really hope that a lot of people see this, even though I do understand that people may be hesitant to go to the theaters considering everything that's going on. It's a good movie experience. It's a good theater experience, and my review will be going up on the 23rd, so make sure you check that out.
Already bought my tickets.
I'm going open night.
Awesome.
I got to.
Yeah.
I have to go open night. I have to.
Yeah, you guys have to let me know what you think about the movie.
Oh, for sure.
See it.
Yeah.
I do hope that they do change their stance. I do hope it gets released on Disney Plus earlier than the 45 days after. I think it will only help the movie, not hurt the movie. I said this last night. Prime, you know this. A bunch of music studios did not understand streaming music.
Yeah.
They did not understand it. They did not understand how you could generate revenue from just hitting play. Yeah. They thought you had to buy a physical CD.
Yeah.
When they found out you could make $1 billion hitting shuffle on your iTunes or Spotify, selecting your favorite artist, you do not see not one studio telling you to buy a physical CD.
Indeed.
It does not exist anymore. So to me, streaming is the future everywhere. It's not, I mean, people read books through streaming. They don't buy physical books anymore. So to me, as I wrap this up, to me, I just personally hope that it does release itself on Disney Plus, because that helped Black Widow more than the theatrical release did. I paid $30 to watch Black Widow at home. I didn't go to the theaters for it. And to me, I think I think fans get more of a bang for their buck. To know that you pay $30, which is the price of 2 tickets, you pay $30 to go to watch Shang-Chi at home. Guess what? If you're like, damn, this was good, I want to watch it again Friday. Guess what? You don't have to pay anything else to enjoy that again. It's yours now for forever. You know, you don't have to wait for Disney Plus to go through its proper channels to put it on its platform. You just have it now. So to me, do it. I'm sorry, Simu. That's not a knock. It's not sabotaging your box office at all. I think you being one of the greatest streamed movies of all time is an accomplishment of its own. Because soon box office, it won't mean anything anymore. It just won't.
Yeah, box office going to eventually have to pull in streaming numbers. Like
Yeah,
eventually they're going to
I'm
start
kind of
doing
confused
that.
as to why, like, for one thing, the whole Scarlett Johansson situation happened. Like, if you thought that it was going to be only in theaters, and you keep seeing ads like in theaters and on Disney Plus, in theaters and on Disney Plus, like, at what point do you decide, you know what, maybe I should ask about that last part because I don't remember that being in my contract. And I
Well,
don't know why you, well, it's not that she didn't want it in her contract, but I think that should have been there from the get-go. Like, oh, if this is going to be on Disney Plus, then like cut me my check. I think like all the actors should do that because like if Netflix is anything to show, like there's a lot of success in that, and a lot of movies that may not even have had the chance before, they can become like hugely successful on streaming platforms. So yeah, I agree with you, Juwan.
Well, from what I saw,
go ahead, Trevor.
I'm saying from what I read that they had started negotiations but didn't follow through, and therefore she waited until like the movie was like out, and now she like finally like went after them, I guess. So I understand getting her money. Like, I don't fault her for doing this.
I don't fault her for wanting to get her money, but I'm just like, why wait until now? Like, you had all this time before the movie came out on Disney Plus to be like, hey, Disney, like, we need to discuss this now before it comes out. Let's work out a contract. Like, she waited until after, which is
the confusing part for me. Before it comes out, though.
Well, no, I think it was more allegorical. I think it was more so. I think, and I could be wrong. Apparently, I've been wrong once already this episode. But I think it made more money streaming than it did in the box office. As an actor, in your contract, you get box office money.
Box office, yeah.
Not streaming money. So if it did 800 million in streaming and only 200 million in box office, you do kind of feel shorted of like, well, wait, it only made this money because I was in it. I was Black Widow.
Right.
So that's what she's referring to. It's allegorical.
True.
You know, it's the numbers. It's why I tell you guys, in learning marketing, the worst thing is when Netflix comes out and goes, Stranger Things season 4 had the greatest opening in streaming history. You as a consumer have no numbers to back that. So you're buying in to the marketing of, oh, I gotta watch it because billions of people are watching it. So it's the idea of streaming has to kind of work that curve to where it's very clear where the numbers are coming from and what the numbers are. And when directors and writers and actors can see that, no one will care about box office anymore. But all right, we're getting out of here. Let me answer a few questions before we get out of here. Are you going to watch the Hugh Jackman movie this Friday? I can't pronounce that name, Joe. I don't know what the name of that movie is.
Reminiscence.
It is.
Yeah, Reminiscence.
It did look pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I saw the ad for it.
Yes, I will be watching that, not because I think it looks good, but because I am very much in love with Rebecca Ferguson. So I'll be tuning in for that. All in the Game, is it simultaneous HBO Max release? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but an actor's salary, unless it's percentage of the box office, should be unaffected by a movie's release platform. No. Yeah, no, Joe. So that's what I was just saying. If the movie made more money in streaming than it did in box office, your contract was probably catered to box office, not streaming. And last one here. Yeah, there's an email from Disney lawyer that started that discussion but didn't follow through. Will be used as evidence against Disney. Here's the thing. I get it, but it's kind of like the music industry. Pay your artists. It's as simple as that. Pay your artists. There's more money in it when you do that because you have artists more interested and actually appealing to the higher ups, rather than, you know what, I don't need you, I'll just go drop it on SoundCloud and make millions off of that. So, you know, just work with your artists. But yeah, Disney, all these other companies, just start releasing it in theaters and on your platform. There's just too many platforms for you not to be giving, you know,
especially during this pandemic, man. Like, good grief.
And the pandemic's not getting better. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I definitely think they should do it. I just feel like all the contracts are around box office, and they didn't do what HBO Max did. HBO Max paid everybody and to make this happen, to make everybody not be so
which
mad.
Is why I just find the whole situation weird. But
they didn't, Trayvon. That's why a bunch of directors said they
well, at the beginning, that was the problem at the beginning. But then they fixed it and they paid everybody, and now everything's coming out with nobody like fussing.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. But again, look, if Martin Scorsese can put out a movie on Netflix, that lets you know that's the future.
Word up.
Because you would assume he would be the last person to ever do streaming. But if he did it, let you know where the future lies. But all right, I want to thank Tia, Jamie, Prime, and Trayvon for joining me for an all-new episode of What If. Make sure you guys stay tuned this Friday for GVN Talk. We're going to have a special guest on, and we're going to be talking this brand new episode of Titans coming out tomorrow. Excuse me. Trayvon has already made it clear. Jason Todd's got to go.
He really does.
So,
12 feet deep.
It'll be interesting to see how much further Trayvon feels vindicated in that feeling going forward this season. So make sure you guys stay tuned for all new GVN Talk this Friday. Make sure you guys are following the Sports Bar Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you get your, any of your DSPs. Make sure you guys are tuning in for that. Jamie is streaming literally all the time. I am hoping Jamie does streaming of that new Black Panther art from the Avengers game. I know Jamie was not a huge fan of that Avengers game.
Well, truth be told, I never played it for myself. So I just saw gameplay and I was like, but the Black Panther expansion is looking pretty good. So I might have to pick it up.
It's definitely very good. I just finished it.
And Trayvon has gotten back into making videos. So please make sure the nerd with the tech, you guys are nerd with the tech, not the nerd with the tech. I don't want you guys typing in the wrong thing. Nerd with the tech. Make sure you guys are checking that out. And we got so much in store for you guys. So make sure you guys stay tuned. We just did an interview with Christian Harloff. If you don't know who that is, man behind Collider, man behind movie Schmodown. Man is just very important to this whole geek culture. So make sure you guys check that out. And New York Comic Con's right around the corner. Me and Jamie will be there. Fandom is right around the corner, and the Disney Investors Meeting. So we're going to be getting a lot of news in this year out on. So make sure you guys stay tuned here to make sure you get all your up-to-date news and coverage on everything. But thank you all.